Hi, my name is Tim Wilson. I'm from Red Rocket Studio. What I'd like to do in this project is to take you through creating a whale logo. You can see it over here. And this whale logo is just done with circles and squares, and it's a really great one to get into Illustrator with. This is one of the projects from our Udemy course. You'll find a link in the description at the bottom, and there's over 12 hours of training and projects in that Udemy course. Anyway, enough of me talking. Let's get straight in and give it a go. Now, when you first see the whale, it looks fairly complex, but really what it's only made up of a few circles and a square. Have a look at this. Here's the whale, and there's a circle around there for the body. There's a square that's used to cut off the top, a small circle over here for the tail, another circle for the tail, and then this part of the tail is reused as the bottom fin. Let's try this out. I'm going to move down to a blank area. So the first thing I'm going to do is to create the body of the whale, the big circle. Let's go and get an ellipse. So I will draw an ellipse, hold down the Shift key to make sure I get a perfect circle, and then let go of the mouse. Now this is going to be the body section of the whale, and I'll probably want to use that circle again. So I'm going to hold down the Alt key and drag a copy of that across to the side. Just leave it out of the way there. Now let's cut off the top of this whale. So I'm going to use a rectangle and click and drag a rectangle where I'm going to be cutting the whale to. Now I really can't see those other shapes, so if I use my selection tool, select those shapes, and where it says fill in the appearance panel, I'm going to choose none. So that'll just make those shapes transparent. The only thing we're seeing in there is the stroke. So that'll be for the body of the whale, and then over here I want a circle which is going to be for the tail. So same again, I'm going to go along and I'm going to get an ellipse, hold down the Shift key and drag an elliptical shape. There's no right or wrong with sizes here, you can just experiment as you go. I'm going to place that right over there up against the top of the body of the whale. And I did keep this one for a reason, so I can go and place that over there. I'll just move it up a bit so they line up. You can see how these little pink lines appear. They are there to, they're called smart guides, to show you when things are actually lined up. And as you drag things around, if I move this around here, you can see as I'm moving it, when I get to the right place, those little pink lines appear, and it just shows me that I've snapped right into that area there. So I've got the whale, I've got this part here which will be for the one part of the tail, this part for the other part of the tail, and then I'll use that part again down here to do the fin, and I'll draw in a little eye. Let's get building. I'm going to select all of those parts. I'm going to go along and use the Shapebuilder tool. Now there's certain bits that I do want and certain bits that I don't. I'm going to hold down my Alt key, and I'm going to subtract this bit here and that bit there, and this bit here and that bit there, and I don't want this bit either. I don't actually want that little bit that's sticking out there as well, but I want my tail to be one piece. So I'm now no longer holding down the Alt or the Option key, and I can just click and drag across the tail like that to make it into one piece. Sometimes you'll find there's extra little bits in there, and you might have to zoom in if, like mine, you've got a little piece that you actually didn't want. So I'm going to drag across those two like that to make them into one shape. So there's the basis of my whale. Now I think what I'd like to do is to make a fin. Now I could either try and take part of that and reuse that down there, or and you can do whatever you like, but I'm going to just make a fin very quickly by holding down the Alt key, making 2 copies of a shape like that, and then using the Shapebuilder tool to subtract that part and that part. And there I've got my fin, which I can then add in there. I can select both of those shapes, and then I could use my Shapebuilder tool to unite them into one. I'm going to undo that and get rid of that little shape. If you'd rather, you could take a copy of the tail. So I'm going to hold down the Alt key, drag a copy of the tail, pop that in there, and then once again, select both of them, use the Shapebuilder tool to unite them into one shape. The only thing I'm really missing here is an eye. So let me go along and use the elliptical tool and click and drag a little eye. That's not really an eye shape, is it? As cool as it looks, I really would rather have a circle. So I'm going to go and get an ellipse. Once again, hold down Shift and draw my little eye in like that. Now to fill this with color, I can then select these areas, go to my fill and just choose a fill color. Well, let's have a bit of a blue for the whale. And once again, I can select this bottom bit, same thing, pick a fill color. And for the eye, I'm going to click on the eye and I'm going to fill that with white there. If you don't like the lines around the outside, well, you can select everything and in your properties panel, go along to the stroke and choose none for the stroke. Now that you've got your whale, you want to make sure you save it. So File, Save As, and we're going to be saving over here as the Adobe Illustrator, which is a .ai file type. And you can put it wherever you like. I'm going to call mine W or whale. And for me, I'm just going to save mine on my desktop where I can find it later on. Click on Save and it's done. You can always come back to that at any time later on. If you have a little window which pops up like mine has, which says Illustrator Options, we're going to click OK. We'll come back to this later on. We'll talk about the various versions. Just leave it on the default. So there it is. Have a bit of a go with your own one. See if you can try and do some other animals. You'll find that most logos and icons are just made from squares and circles. Have fun. Don't forget to save it. I hope you enjoyed the project. Remember, there are tons more in our Udemy course with a lot of training as well, over 12 hours. And the link is down in the description. Don't forget to subscribe to get lots more of this sort of training from us.